Welcome to the AVAIL Podcast, where our goal is to dig deep and get into this art we call leadership. My name is Virgil Sierra, and today we're sitting down with Dr. Sam Chan. Dr. Chan is an amazing author. He's a leadership architect. He's the founder and CEO of the Sam Chan Leadership Institute. He's the co-founder of AVAIL. And today we're going to be talking about the new edition of his book, Who's Holding Your Ladder? Dr. Chan, it is good to have you back on the AVAIL Podcast. How are you feeling today?
Oh, wow. What a joy it is to be with you. And before we get into anything, on behalf of hundreds of thousands of people who listen to these podcasts that you have been facilitating over all these years, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your faithfulness. Thank you for your godliness. Thank you for coming prepared to the table. Thank you for asking incisive questions. Just thank you for your gift to the kingdom. And we just get to share opposite ends of the same microphone. So before we go into anything else, I want to say thank you to you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that, Dr. Chan. It is my pleasure. I love being on this journey of life and leadership with you and with the AVAIL team. It is one of the privileges and honors of my life. And I'll tell you something, I never stop learning with every guest, every author, every pastor, every leader who comes on AVAIL. Dr. Chan, it's always awesome. And whenever you're on, you never disappoint. You always bring the fire. You always bring the wisdom. And I'm excited to talk about the new edition of your book, Who's Holding Your Ladder? It would be awesome if you kind of start off about the inspiration behind that book.
So this is a refurbished edition of Who's Holding Your Ladder that came out, I want to say 25 years ago,
Wow.
Something like that. Yeah, it was a self-published book, but the story behind that, Virgil, is that I was invited to speak at a conference in Long Island, New York, Queens borough, and as I was waiting to be called to go to the stage and speak, I was on the third or fourth level of the building, and I was looking down on the street level, and I saw a man across the street on a tall ladder, which was like a two-story building, and he was painting the building at the side of the building, and he would go halfway up and he would paint as far as he could. He had all the equipment. He had the paint, he had the brush, he had the do-rag, he had the scraper, roller, brush, everything was there. And so he would go halfway up and paint as far as he could, and then come back down and move the ladder over. That perplexed me, that confused me, because in one of my previous lifetimes, I used to paint for a living. And I know this, and everybody listening to me right now knows that once you are on the ladder, you want to finish the job. The last thing you want to do is keep coming up and down, moving the ladder. So I was confused. Why isn't he doing that? And then I noticed the problem. The problem was that nobody was holding his ladder. He was painting by himself. And a thought came to me, Virgil, and the thought said, if somebody was holding his ladder, he could have gone higher. And therefore, a lesson or a paradigm or for me, it was a transformational paradigm that emerged, which simply said this, that the ascent up the ladder is not dependent on the ladder climber. It is dependent on who's holding your ladder.
Wow.
So if I could translate that for my leadership listeners and watchers right now, it is simply this, that you as the visionary are the ladder climber. And you have all the tools, you have the skills, you have the competence, you have the experience, you have the know-how. But your ascent up the ladder, then the ladder signifies your vision. So you're the visionary, you're going up the vision ladder, but your ascent up the ladder, your success going to the top of the ladder is not contingent on you, the ladder climber, or even your vision. Your success of the vision is dependent on who's holding your ladder. So I wrote that book about 25 years ago. Virgil, I can't tell you how many different iterations has been through. I traveled all over the world, and people say, "Who's your ladder holder? Who's your ladder holder? Who's holding your ladder?" It's just an imagery that sticks in your mind. And something that's been really fun to watch is how other leaders in corporate as well as church, pastors have put ladders on the platform, gone up the ladder, had people holding ladders, and simply illustrated how everybody is connected, either the ladder holder or ladder climber, because we are both.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember years ago hearing you tell this story and even watching videos of you teaching some of these lessons. And I remember thinking, wow, what a gift when you're sitting in a hotel room in New York, minding your own business, and all of a sudden the Lord inspires you with this kind of vision, which I know inspired this book and beyond, more books as well. Now, in this book, in this book, there are so many principles that you touch on, but something that you talk about is that before you became a ladder climber, you were a ladder holder. So why do you think good ladder climbers are first good ladder holders?
Well, as a ladder holder, first of all, you get to watch the other guy, or the other lady. You get to watch their steps. You get to watch their cadence. You get to watch what their apprehensions might be. You get to watch just how they do what they do up there. So, we know that more is caught than taught. Uh-huh. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you learn the important thing of depending on somebody else. Mm. And so once you learn that, you also learn trust. You learn confidence. You learn competence. You learn faithfulness. You learn the basic lessons that you will not learn once you're on top of the ladder. So being a ladder holder prepares you to be a ladder climber. And everybody wants to be a ladder climber, but really the best place to start is being a ladder holder, because the only time you start at the top is when you're digging a hole. Apart from that, you'll always start at the bottom. And unfortunately, if we're not careful, especially in the times and the culture that we are living in, and the kind of ways that leaders are coming up and the pathway of leadership, it seems like leaders want to start at least on the third, fourth, or fifth rung of the ladder, day one.
Right.
And may I suggest that is not the very best thing to do. Be a good ladder holder, and then let heaven reward you for serving somebody else's vision.
Wow.
When you hold somebody else's ladder, heaven is watching you, and how you're holding it, and the attitude with which you're holding it, and the grace with which you are holding it. And heaven rewards you. Be a good ladder holder, and heaven will allow you to be a ladder climber.
I love that. I love that visual. I find, Dr. Chand, that in my life, as I look back in earlier seasons and younger seasons of my life, I'm a pastor's kid. I can see how for a good amount of years, I was a ladder holder for my father, and I really was not a ladder climber. Later in other seasons, I realized that now there was a ladder that I was called to climb. And right now, Dr. Chen, if I'm honest, as lead pastor at Vertical Church here in South Florida, I am a ladder climber, and I have taken a lot of your wisdom to learn how to find some good ladder holders. But at the same time, I'm simultaneously finding myself, for example, connected with you. I've told you, Dr. Chand, I want to be a champion for you in your heart and your mission, and especially reaching Latin America in Spanish with leadership resources that's been on your heart for so many years. And I find myself in a position where, yes, I'm a ladder climber in my church, in my organization, but I'm also in a place where I'm holding the ladder for some people like yourself who are
Absolutely.
So important in my life.
Absolutely. People know I speak at different places, especially at leadership conferences and so on and so forth. So whenever I'm invited to speak for somebody, I always have a posture that I am their ladder holder.
Right.
I don't have a vision for that place.
Mm.
It's not my vision. I'm not the ladder climber there. I am the ladder holder. So when I'm on a platform speaking, I'm always holding somebody else's ladder. And once I get that imagery in my mind, when I leave from there, I want the pastor or the CEO to have climbed to the top of the ladder, knowing that Sam Chand was holding my ladder.
Mm.
So I want to be known more as a ladder holder than a ladder climber.
That's good. That's good. You unpack 5 core qualities of a ladder holder.
Yeah.
Talk to us about those.
Well, to make it sticky, I have created a word, staff, STAFF, STAFF. So just 30 seconds on each one of them. S stands for strong. By that I mean strong meaning people who can handle instruction and correction. They're not fragile. They don't get the feelings hurt easily. They don't moan and groan and complain and whine and carry on. They don't have a sense of entitlement. They are there to serve. But strong means that they have inner fortitude. They have a core that cannot be moved. They are strong. T stands for teachable. Teachable. Someone said it like this. It is what you learn after you know it all. That really matters. So they are teachable. Otherwise, people will come to your organization from another business, another church, and they want to bring what was going on there into your ecosystem. And there's nothing really intrinsically bad with that, except to know that you are there to learn what this organization is doing. You got to be teachable. Number 3, that's S is strong, teachable. A stands for attentive. By attentive, I mean they learn quickly. You don't have to teach them the same lesson again and again. You don't have to remind them. You don't have to chase after them. You don't have to say, did you do this? Did you do that? Once you say it to them, you can consider it done. Because if you have a list and I have a list and that is still on my list, then you become unnecessary. So for me to delegate something to you, ask you to do something, I should be able to take it off my list. But I would say to you, 99% of the people who are listening to us right now, Virgil, put it on somebody else's list, but still keep it on their list. And the reason they keep it on their list because they don't have the kind of confidence that the person is attentive and will handle it.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
S stands for strong, T stands for teachable, A stands for attentive, F stands for firm, FIRM. Firm, I mean people who are not blown about by manipulative people. Manipulative people are everywhere. So they are firm. They are not going anywhere. They can weather the storms. They can disagree and still carry on. They can have a difficult day and still come back the next day full of vigor, vitality, and vim. They are people who are not just pushed around by innuendos and things that are happening. They are firm. They are there. They are planted. And then the final F stands for faithful. Faithful, not in the Lord. That is a given.
Right.
Faithful in you as the leader. I was born just like you, Virgil. I was born and raised in a pastor's home. And church people are enigmas. Some of them are even crazy. So it's like I'm something that I don't understand. For example, one thing I don't understand is if you don't have faith in your pastor, why do you keep going there?
Right.
Your blood pressure goes high. You don't give. You don't sing. You don't worship. You fold your arms. You don't receive the word. You get angry. You come angry. You leave angrier. Go somewhere else. Go to another church. I mean, you can be healed instantly by going to another church. But what I'm saying is they have to have faith in the Lord, but they also have to be faithful toward you as the leader. And that is true in corporate, that's true in church, that's true interdepartmentally. In every sphere of leadership, we're looking for staff. Strong, teachable, attentive, firm, and faithful.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good key to remember, and I think this is good for leaders, this is good for you to think about, not after you've already selected somebody and positioned them, but in that process of, hey, is this a good candidate? This is a good filter. Are they strong? Are they teachable? Are they attentive? Are they firm? Are they faithful? I love, Dr. Chan, that you always give us handles that are easy to understand, that we could grab onto. And I have held on to staff so strongly in the last years in my leadership. Another thing you talk about in this book is that you distinguish between leaders and managers. And obviously there's a difference. What's the difference, first of all, and then how should leaders and managers work together?
Okay. So let me go do a disclaimer, because leaders and managers are very, very different wiring, but you need both.
Mm-hmm.
So don't let it sound like leaders are better than managers or managers are better than leaders.
Right.
It's like saying which one is more important. And my question would be, which wing of the airplane is more important, the right or the left?
Right.
You know, you need both of them. So leaders are always leading into tomorrow. Managers are managing today. Leaders lead with vision. Managers manage the vision. Leaders are always trying to change things. Managers, by and large, like to keep the status quo and like to keep things the same. Leaders are about people. Managers are about processes. So there are many in the book. I have a whole probably 2 pages of the difference between leaders and managers. Now, why is that important part of the book? Because if you give a leader a manager's responsibility, a manager's position, a manager's job, you're going to kill that leader. They're going to curl up and die on the inside. But if you give a manager a leader's position or their responsibilities, what you'll find is that they will be very frustrated because you're asking them to be thinking of the future, the new ideas, new ways, new initiatives, taking risks. You're asking them to do things that they're not wired for. That does not mean anything is wrong with them, anything is bad with them, anything ungodly with them, or anything that is devalued about them. It simply means that God has gifted all of us in different ways. So the reason that section is in there, so that you as the leader will know that you don't want to frustrate and you don't want to curl up the people on the inside simply because you misplaced them. You know, we talk about proper people placement prevents problems, right? Mm-hmm. Proper people placement prevents problems. And when some of the problems that we have in our organizations is because we did not do proper people placement. Mm-hmm. And we put managers in leadership positions and leaders in management positions, and they just get frustrated. And more than that, you get frustrated, and then you get an attitude about them, and you get disappointed about them, and then you end up firing them. And the real problem was not them, the real problem was you, because you did not select your leaders according to managerial or leadership skills.
Yeah, that's good. There's so much wisdom out of this illustration. It's genius, Dr. Chan, the illustration of the ladder. So we touched on it a little earlier, but you mentioned in the book the importance of helping turn ladder holders into ladder climbers. So here's a question. How do you identify maybe those ladder holders that have what it takes to become ladder climbers, and how do you train them to be good at it?
So I'm looking for 3 things: skill, will, and thrill. Skill, will, and thrill. So skill is know-how. Will is persuaded that you should do this. Mm-hmm. And thrill is, this will be so much fun. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking for those qualities. And when I see skill in somebody and will but no thrill, they're not going to be a good ladder climber. Or I see a lot of thrill but no skill. So I'm looking for all 3 to
Yeah.
see, and will is needed in both of those. Doesn't matter which way you go. If you're on the ground or you're climbing, you'll need the will, because
Hmm.
everyone knows that there will be difficult days, there will be challenging times in your leadership, and it just sometimes there's a sheer willpower.
Hmm.
I've been through some tough situations, as you have, and as 100% of our listeners have
Right.
been through very difficult times where it seemed like heaven was not helping you much and looked like hell was all against you.
Yeah.
But the only thing you said to yourself, I will, I will,
Mm.
I will. And you will yourself into staying strong. You will yourself into doing the right thing. You will yourself from not resigning. You will yourself to stay in the fight. So that will power is just so very important. So everybody needs that. But skill and thrill are the two differentiators uh, of what I'm looking for. So yeah, turning ladder holders into ladder
Mm.
climbers brings more joy to a leader than you'll ever know. You
Yeah.
know, And now that I'm not pastoring, people ask me, "What do you miss about pastoring?" And one of the things I miss about pastoring virtual is there was a time I would see somebody come to church for the first time
Yeah.
and get saved and get saved. They can see a ladder, but they're nowhere close to a ladder. Forget about ladder holding. You
Yep.
just there's kind of an idea that the vision of the church is this, and then you start investing in their life, and you take them through discipleship, and you help them grow and mature and nurture in grace and knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. And then you see them becoming good ladder holders. And they might be holding a door, they might be holding a nursery class, they might be teaching a young adult class, they might be playing the bass guitar, whatever it might be. You see them holding a ladder, and then you see heaven starts smiling on them, and the thrill starts showing in their faces, and the skill starts coming to them, and you say, wow, there's Sam Chan. One day he might be able to do something. And there's Virgil Sierra. He was born in a pastor's home, but boy, right now, he's not ready for it. But then slowly he was holding a ladder one day.
Mm.
And Daddy said, hey, come on up
Yeah.
and come up one more rung. Then come up a little bit higher and come up a little higher. And then he left you the ladder. And the thrill that comes to a leader's life, Virgil, to
Mm.
see somebody come from not even knowing anything about the ladder to being a ladder climber, wow.
Mm.
That is just unimaginable.
Yeah. That's awesome. Dr. Chan, something I admire about you is you often share about your own growth, and you're vulnerable about things that you did wrong or that that you didn't get right, along the journey. If you had understood then what you know now about selecting and maximizing ladder holders, what would you have done differently as a young leader, maybe even a young pastor?
So let me quote a few things to you from the book.
Mm-hmm.
I would hire slowly and fire quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would learn that things don't go wrong, they start wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I would do much longer and much more purposeful onboarding and not assume that they know who we are, even though they might have been at my church for a long period of time. I would not assume anything. I would say to them, without insulting you and patronizing you, I want to walk you through this onboarding process. I would, in my book I write, I would fire somebody the first time went through my mind.
Mm.
Because after that, I am looking for reasons to keep them.
Wow.
I would be very reluctant to talk people into staying.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the biggest mistakes I made, Virgil, as a pastor, was talking people into staying who were planning on leaving.
Right.
Because they're going to leave anyhow. They're going to leave
Yeah.
after a while anyhow. But in
Yeah.
the meantime, you've lost your equity and things usually don't go right. I would look for thrill. Skill and will, yes, but thrill. I want people who are happy. I want people who are joyful. I want people who have a smile on their face. I want people who will say, Pastor, you know what we should do? We can do this and we can do that. Let's do a little bit more than that. This year we did this. Next year, let's do this. This year for Easter egg hunt, we did 1,000 eggs. Let's do an egg drop of 5,000 eggs next year. It's like, I know we don't have the money and I don't know where we're going to get it, but I'm looking for people who are looking for the thrill. It is joyful people, happy people, fulfilled people, going somewhere people, can do it people. It's all possible people, faithful people, people who believe God can still move mountains. So I would look up, I was quite intrigued with skill and will, but right now at this age and stage of my life, I would look for thrill. I'm looking for people who say, like Caleb, give me that mountain.
Yeah.
Don't hold me back. I'm going somewhere. I want to do something.
Yeah. There's something exciting and I would say even contagious when you have people that have the thrill. I love that framework as well. Will, skill, thrill. And what a beautiful thing when it's all three strong. That's a good framework. As we kind of head into the final stretch, if an organization lacks strong ladder holders, what happens? What are the consequences when you don't have strong ladder holders? And I don't know whether it's examples or personal stories that maybe organizations, are going to be challenged with when there's a lack of strong ladder holders.
So the primary responsibility of any leader is to do three things. And you've heard me talk about these before, Virgil. Mm-hmm. Discover, develop, deploy. Mm-hmm. So if you are a leader of a department, you're leader of an entire organization, you are CEO, executive director, senior pastor, executive pastor, whatever, but you are leading people. Your primary responsibility is to do those three things. You discover ladder holders. Now, please know this. No ladder holder looks like, acts like, behaves like you want them to do. They are all raw. They say the wrong things. But they are teachable. They are teachable. Remember the staff thing? They are teachable and they are attentive. So discover. And I want to tell you the best time to discover somebody is when things are going bad, when things are going wrong, when things are not happening. When you're going through a tough time in your organization, you know what leaders do? They're looking for solutions. They're trying to figure it out. But during those tough times is when best leaders are going to emerge.
Yep.
So keep your eyes on emerging leaders during difficult times. That's discover. Then develop. You have to have a development plan for your leaders. Some of it's going to be organic over coffee and lunch. Some is going to be on purpose, intentional, one-on-one, download. Some of them are going to be in small groups. Development really does not happen in large groups. Any group larger than 5 to 6 is not going to be development. It's going to be training. It goes into training, not development. So you're developing a person. What is development? Development is social skills, anger management, conflict resolution, vision casting, decision making. Those are developmental things. And then deploy. So you got to discover, develop, deploy to being a ladder holder and eventually a ladder climber. But those things, I can tell you, every leader is so busy they never ever. Not sure it's a never ever. Most leaders I know are so busy that they don't have an intentional plan of discovery, development, and deployment. If I was to ask 10 leaders, what's your discovery plan? What's your discovery plan? They don't have one. And so I think that is how it starts, Virgil. You have a discovery. You'll never deploy unless you discover. And that's what Jesus did. I mean, look at Luke chapter 6 on. You will see him. First thing he did. was to discover his ladder holders, also known as apostles.
Uh-huh.
And I think when you don't do that, you are not sustainable. You can scale, but you will not sustain.
That's good. Dr. Chand, it's amazing how in 30, 35 minutes you can pour out so much that leaves us still thinking. I'm going to be processing this all afternoon and evening because there's so much there. And I know, honestly, everybody, if you have not gotten, even if you had the old version, you're going to want this new edition of Who's Holding Your Ladder. All of Sam Chand's books are a blessing, and especially if you're wanting to grow as a leader, this is going to help you. Dr. Chand, if people want to connect with you, if they want to learn more about your resources, where are some of the places they could go to?
You can go to a number of places. I'm sure it'll be a part of what you will receive. Samchand.com, SAMCHAND, D as in David.com. You can go to AVAIL Journal.com. You can go to setyourowntuition.com, in which you will get a 12-month, 12 books, 36 videos, and the price is right. Pay whatever you want to pay. So if you wanted to learn more, you'll get a book a month and 3 videos teaching that every month, and you set your own price. So it's setyourowntuition.com. And that will introduce you to all the resources that are available out there. And I know all of this will be made available to you in the broadcast as well. So thank you, Virgil. This has been just a lot of fun.
Yes, so I want to mention the AVAIL Journal. I got some copies behind me. I got some here, the AVAIL Journal. Dr. Chan, I know that in 2020, early 2020, before the world kind of went crazy with situations all globally, you and Martine called me and talked to me about AVAIL, this new Christian leadership brand, and some of the things that were going to happen. We talked about this podcast, which didn't exist at the moment, that we were going to begin. And one of the things that we do at AVAIL is the quarterly AVAIL Leadership Journal. I think the best Christian leadership magazine out there right now. Can you tell us a little bit about what you think about the AVAIL journals?
The AVAIL Journal is, let me see if I have one right here. So it is, we got John Maxwell on this cover over here, a good friend of mine. It is 5-color, glossy magazine, about 100, 120 pages of this pure leadership content. Pure leadership content. And if you go to availjournal.com, and it's a quarterly magazine, so it's not a monthly magazine, it's a quarterly magazine. You'll get the first 2 issues free of charge. And if you want to continue, that's up to you. If not, just stop the journal coming to you. But that's really easily done. But this is just an amazing. It's the best in market. People tell me it is so good. I get contacts from so many leaders on a regular basis saying, how do I get in the journal, AVAIL Journal? All my friends are reading AVAIL Journal. How do I get in it? And so, of course, I send them on to our offices and they work it out from there. But yeah, availjournal.com. But if you really want to do a deep dive in a 12-month plan, go to Sam Chan Leadership Institute, which by setyourowntuition.com. A book a month. It's all digital unless you want to buy the hard copy. They're available as well. Otherwise, it's all digital. Yeah, I'll send you 3 videos every month teaching that book. And I forgot, at the end of the 12 months, you will get a certificate of completion from the Sam Chan Leadership Institute. So yeah, it's set whatever you want to pay for it. No questions asked. Setyourowntuition.com.
Everybody, I want to just personally recommend every single resource that Dr. Sam Chand has produced and the team. They're extraordinary, from the books to the journals to the masterclass videos that are connected to some of these books through theartofleadership.com. Everything AVAIL. You're going to learn, you're going to grow, you're going to be blessed, you're going to be encouraged. And Dr. Chand, I'll say every single person I talk to, including guests on the AVAIL podcast, or people that I meet out in the world, they always say, Dr. Chand is such a blessing. I've learned so much. He has helped me, his books, his teachings. And I just want to give a shout out, Dr. Chand, to you for doing what you do for faithfully and in an honorable way for such a long time. And I think, you know, you're like fine wine. You get better. The more you age, the more wisdom comes out of you, Dr. Chand.
Then I should live forever. Yeah. Thank you so much, Virgil, and thank you to all my listeners and watchers. It is because of you that we do what we do. If you are not doing what you're doing, we have no reason to be doing what we're doing. So thank you for being the wind beneath our wings and giving us motivation and the thrill of being part of your journey. It's your journey, and we're happy to serve in it.
Yeah. What's a final thought, little nugget you want to leave on leaders' hearts as we close off this conversation?
You are leading in probably the toughest days of our lifetime. You are leading against so many odds. You're leading in the most divisive times that any of us have lived on. I'm not saying one is right, the other is wrong. I'm simply saying we're divided.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough place to be leading right now. But here's what I want you to get. God trusted you enough to place you on this planet at this time. He could have placed you 100 years ahead. He can place you a few years from now. But he placed you because you know you've been placed.
Yep.
You didn't just come out. You were placed. And because you have been placed, that means he trusts you. And because he trusts you, that means he's with you. So don't just keep the faith. Lead the faith. And lead every people into that faith, fully believing that God trusts you. I know you trust God, but I'll tell you what really thrills my heart is God trusts me. How awesome is that? And for that, I'm grateful. May you never forget that while you trust God, God trusts you.
That's a good word, everybody. Dr. Sam Chand. Dr. Chand, I just want to say, I usually tell all of our guests on behalf of Dr. Sam Chand and our team, but I'm telling you today on behalf of everybody here at AVAIL, Martijn, Amy Van Tilburg, the whole AVAIL crew who's behind the scenes, we are so thankful for your leadership. We are honored to be working alongside with you. We're proud of you. And on behalf of everybody out, leaders everywhere in the world, thank you for being faithful to the call on your life and for giving us handles to grab onto as we navigate leadership. You are a true blessing.
Thank you. Thank you. May the Lord bless you as you hold so many people's ladders.
Amen. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this episode of the AVAIL Podcast. For more leadership resources, check us out at theartofleadership.com and make sure to claim your free trial subscription of the AVAIL Journal at availjournal.com. As always, I'm your AVAIL Podcast host, Virgil Sierra. Muchas gracias. Thank you for connecting with us to learn the art of leadership here at the AVAIL Podcast.